Um, we have a quorum, we have everyone here, so. Mr. Lemlin is the newbie. Would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, for those of you, I guess, does everyone know Drake? Do you know everyone here, Drake? You
Most everyone.
okay, you know Phil.
I know Phil.
Cole Cotton.
Cole. Yeah. And I met Lori and Chris.
Yeah.
I know Chris.
Roxanne.
Yeah.
Nobody knows Mike. So. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. We kind of run a formal, informal meeting, so anytime you want to pitch in or chime in, just do it. Okay, introduction of visitors. That's generally your job, but since you're not officially up, we'll let Josh do it.
Go ahead. Casey Elliott, Dylan Tribune, Sean Leonard, Transportation Director of BCHS, John Hanson, History teacher and Union President, and his wife. Any questions? Anybody else? Did I miss anybody?
Okay, we have Dan online.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, the first thing we have is review and approval of the minutes from the June 11th regular meeting. If you haven't had a chance to look at those, please do.
I've moved to approve the minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as sent out to us. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, the next thing we have are the review of the claims and accounts. They're on the yellow paper that Suzanne had.
Okay. Before we get going, let's mention that it's Megan Hanson, also known as John's wife. I've been a bit disrespectful, so I want to make sure I correct that. Okay. All right, page 1. Third item down, you'll see 20838 Black Mountain Software at the $19,015.19. That's our financial software. That's how we do all of our accounting, everything like that. It is expensive. It's about the best on the market. You know, a lot of organizations, not just schools within our state, use that product, and it's served us well. And we just got to pay a pretty hefty price for it. Any questions on Black Mountain Software?
The cloud, that's an annual cloud.
Yeah, and you know, it's a pain in the butt because that in itself is like $5,500 to pay off.
Necessary evil.
Probably not in that bank, right?
Yeah, anything they can extra they can charge you for.
Yep.
And then the one right underneath that one, 20839. That's our MasterCard. You can see $15,612.13, which is actually pretty good compared to some we've had. And it's just kind of a miscellaneous of end of the year purchases. So you can kind of look through there. If there's anything that catches your eye, if you have a question about anything specific, we got bus stuff from teacher subscriptions to conferences, that some of the conferences here this time of year that some of our staff have been sending. Any other questions? Page 1. Okay, we'll move on to page 2. Didn't have anything specific highlighted on this page. There again, if you have any questions, I can be more than happy to answer. But also one of our shortest claim packages. So you kind of look through it. It's pretty annual or monthly charges here for utilities and things of that nature. There are no questions on page 2. Move on to page 3, and I do have one item in the middle of the page, 20853, Intuitive Architecture, $24,013.75. That's a charge from our architect for the ASIC building repair project. You can see it's kind of divided from the principal and associate architect. Question on anything, any other items on page 3? We'll move on to page 4. First one, item 20858, enclosed building science, $8,098. That was our building envelope specialist for the ASIC building repair project to figure out what product or how we should, what type of construction would be best to make sure that the building envelope is fully airtight. So those are his costs. Directly into that one, item 20859, Northern Hardwood for $9,350. That's for our gym floor refinishing. That's both BW Lodge and the Green Gym. Those are the last ones on page 4. Any others on page 4? Anybody have a question about? So we have a total of 29 claims from 27 vendors for $100,938.98. Total there's fairly high for the number of claims, but we did have some larger claims related to the ASIC building repair project. And you can see that broken out in the last phase of the funds, where the majority of the funds are from the building fund and building reserve. Almost half anyway.
We'd be able to have some money left over to spend down at the end of the year for maybe for the next year.
We did. We were fortunate to have some to basically get just about all of our end of the year expenses or requisitions, both activity and non-activity requisitions. So that was nice. We didn't know if we were going to until like the 30th, maybe the 1st of May. We figured it out.
Well, good.
Close.
Good. Anybody have any questions on the claims and accounts?
Would move to approve the claims as presented.
Been moved and seconded to approve the claims and accounts. Is there any discussion or question? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Under public comment, I have a couple. First one here is from the University of Montana Western School of Outreach. BCHS, a long overdue thank you for a second year of partnering with us in offering welding to UMW students and community. We truly value our partnership and look forward to more opportunities in the future. Sincerely, Ryan Gibson. It's nice. I think that worked good. How many students did they end up with? Do you know?
I think 6 to 8, something like that.
Okay. The other communication I have is one I don't want to read, but it's addressed to me. Gary, please accept this letter as my official notice of resignation from the BCHS School Board, effective following the completion of the July 2026 board meeting. As you are aware, we've sold our home in Wise River, and our move will take us out of Beaverhead County. It has been an honor and a pleasure to support this great school and the team that works so hard each day to create the best possible experiences for its students, their families, and this community. I've appreciated getting to know you and each of my fellow board members over these last number of years, and I wish nothing but the best for all in the future. Thank you again for your support and understanding, Lori Smith. Lori, we hate to see you leave. Darn it, you've been an integral part and a great school board member and a great addition to the community. So we wish you the best of luck in Missoula. Is that where you're going to end up, or do you know?
Yeah, that fell through. So we're gonna go to Tennessee.
Tennessee?
What?
Really?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Just like this was a new adventure that will be.
Do you have kids in Tennessee?
We do not. No, our kids are in Minnesota.
That's what I thought.
Yep. We said we'd never go back to Minnesota. So,
Where in Tennessee?
kind of middle Tennessee, the Cumberland Plateau, in between Nashville and Knoxville.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Quite
it'd
a
be easier
change.
for them to get there. Yeah. It is close to the Smoky Mountains, which is very different than the mountains here, but they are mountains nonetheless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best, and once again, thank you for everything. So,
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate having this opportunity. It's a great
Yeah.
experience.
it's been neat. Any other public comment or communication? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to the superintendent's report. I think the first thing is ASET building project update with Dan. How you want to go?
Yep, Dan, you're up.
All right. Well, thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. I'm apologize.
Boots on the ground really soon, because it wasn't for today.
Yeah. No, I know. I spoke with Dr. Patterson and Gary Love this last week, kind of gave him some quick updates. I feel the same anxiety on schedule as you all are feeling, I'm sure. With the late change in going away from sealing the building and painting it, that new product, that EFS product, quite a bit more detailing was required. And so the drawings were completed late on the 19th of June. They were delivered to those subcontractors, those pre-qualified. We had every company that could provide that product was allowed to kind of pre-qualify. It dwindled down to 3 that actually had the capacity and the experience to do it. They received those on the 24th. Their numbers were due late this afternoon. I didn't hear from JR. But that's the biggest piece of this, is those folks that are qualified to actually install that product. So the intent is that this week, Langless, we have their superintendent in Dillon that's working on the Vigilante project, will be starting to show up on site to prep for the demolition, which includes the removal of those windows and then a temporary enclosure. So those will be a wood stud and plywood exterior to enclose. We're going to demo that sill plate, those blocks on the bottom, and he'll actually provide a secure enclosure as those windows are removed. Those will be stored in a Connex box and allow then the EFS company to come in within the next week or so to actually start installing that product. We have some limited demo. When we say demo, it's not really demo to get rid of, it's demo to prepare for the new, because we're reusing that enclosure, that window structure. It's just all the detailing that goes around making sure that we're air and watertight around those openings and fix some of those deficiencies that were originally installed. So you'll see, it was this last week, you would have probably seen an advertisement it might be this week, for the other trades. So there's minor scope, painting, patching, small things that we didn't pre-qualified that had to get advertised. Langless didn't feel confident or comfortable with, because they didn't pre-qualify those individuals to go out and just pick somebody off the street. So we wanted to make sure that we kept everybody from a legal standpoint safe by actually advertising those scopes of work that weren't pre-qualified. But those scopes of work are also much later in the work to where it's not affecting the ability for us to get started. In the conversation with Dr. Patterson, yes, the anxiety is true that with getting going to a new system, it really put a lot of pressure on the design team and Enclose and Intuitive to, basically start at zero. And that's why that invoice from Intuitive was probably as sizable as it was, is they did a lot of work in a really short period of time to get the confidence in the details to where the contractor felt comfortable about getting it on the street and having those pre-qualified individuals look at it. and feel comfortable with what we're asking them to do. I sent Dr. Patterson, I asked JR to send out a kind of a phasing plan. And when we say that, it's where they intend to start so that we don't impact the individuals that are going to be part of that they're going to start using the facilities earlier than others. So the intent of Langless is that they're going to start on the front of the building. So that's our main student access. And we're going to work south and then around the back where most of the student activities are happening. And then they'll complete around the wood shop classroom, science and math classrooms along the edge that runs facing BW Lodge, where there's less student and staff interaction. At the time, they will put up security fencing, and safety is obviously their priority. They want to get in and out of the areas that we would have any impact potential of students or staff that need to access that building before the start of school. Let them know some concerns that Dr. Patterson had about that parking lot. Subcontractors are not going to have we don't need a ton of laydown material. If you recall, during the BW Lodge, we had access to a lot that you have just to the east of the BW Lodge. We took advantage of quite a bit of laydown space. This material and the products that we're storing aren't going to require a ton of space. So we most likely would block off the parking stalls that are up against the building. And then the rest of that parking lot would be accessible for the students and staff that need to access prior to school starting. They will provide a safe path to the doors unless there's a reason that they're working in that area that we have to shut it down for a period of time. But we'll have that schedule and we can notify folks of either an alternate access or, hey, between these hours, it's going to be a non-accessible. And then the change in this also limited any interior repairs or requirements to get in and really do a bunch of demo and dust creation and slow down the opportunity for staff to get in and prepare for the start of the school year. They still feel real confident that, hey, we're going to be out of any spaces or out of the way of any of the folks that need to access the building when they need to. And then the only remaining thing would be, once the work is complete, is that we'll have that testing where a third-party engineer would look at the performance of the building to ensure that what we did actually solve the problems to allow the mechanical system and the comfort in that building to function the way it was originally designed. So, I would love to have seen stuff going on the wall today, as what was our original hope is that the 13th was going to be the day that they were there full staffed. But right now, we're about 3-4 days away from really Langless taking a good presence. And then next week is kind of the ramp up period for that EFS. The EFS contractors have said their work is about a three-week process, 3 to 4 weeks. And then it's kind of the finish, touch up, patch, those kind of things. I had an 8 to 10 week originally kind of projected, but that was for more interior related work. And so as we get these final prices, so we do not have a signed contract with Langless because we don't know what the guaranteed maximum price is. And so as these few little bids are coming in, that's when we can actually finalize that contract. I had texted with Gary Love and Dr. Patterson just before the meeting, letting them know I'm on the East Coast right now. My intent is that next week, when I'm back Wednesday late, but next week I will be down. We'll be able to review and sign those contracts because we'll have that GMAX price. Right now, they're working under, if you recall, when we selected them, we're working under a pre-construction agreement where they're doing this work in anticipation that they know it's going to get rolled into our contract. And they've been tracking hours. They had thought about sending in an invoice, but we're not ready for it for the few hours that they've had in doing all that kind of prep work for bidding and procurement of those sub trades. So with that, we'll have the guaranteed maximum price. We'll have the defined project schedule that price is attached to, so that we're making sure that we're not letting them slide too far into the, before we start hitting where we're interrupting things that happen with the students starting to come back on campus. So that's kind of the main thing. I did send in a written version of all that blab that I just did, but in pretty short form. The presence is going to be a lot more, presence of subcontractors, Langless, your design team, and myself. Now we'll start to ramp up for the next 2 months. We'll be pretty regular there. We've been waiting for it for a long time, so we want to make sure it's in the right place and it's done correctly. Which I think in the long run, little bit of pains we're feeling now will pay dividends. When we start getting ready to fire up the mechanical systems this fall for the heating season, those students will have a much better experience being in those classrooms. The other thing that I've asked our design team is we're going to start to want to model, and we'll bug Suzanne a little bit about pulling the last several years of utilities, and we'll start to build a model to show the improvements that I'm guarantee that we're going to see some fairly significant savings in the operation of that building. That then just go, is a plus side that hopefully we can show the community that, hey, it took us a minute to get there, but we've fixed a problem that we were handed in this kind of deal that we had with our previous contractors, but can show some positive benefit to your guys' general fund when it comes to the utility consumption of that building. It's hard to have you ask me a bunch of questions because not a whole lot has happened other than in the back of in the back rooms where the detailing is done. But does anybody have any questions? You can voice your concerns. I'll try to answer. I think I hit on them. We're really going to push hard for those guys to work as many hours. Hopefully they can work some weekends to catch up some time, so that we're not sliding too far where we're interacting with the things that you guys need to do, which is to teach the kids that are going to be showing up real quick.
Dan, you said there's 3 people are going to bid on the EFS?
Yeah, there was three individuals that had the capacity to do it. And so when they went through that pre-qualification piece, they verified that the folks could do it so that they could go direct to those providers. 3 of them have indicated that they're interested in it. Langless has one group that has been kind of the lead in all of the questions and budgeting, but feels they're going to have 3 today. And then we'll review those and approve, basically they'll approve one of those 3 individuals. And they all have experience with the product that we're installing.
And then what did they decide to do? What will the texture look like? Have we decided on anything like that, or is that up to them? Or?
So no, we've got the texture, which is that kind of sand, almost like a finish of a masonry block. And then we've asked them for an alternate to provide a masonry wainscot, so something that would resemble a block or a brick. And then the other would be more of that sand texture. And then we'll have, because of the different profile of some of because we have that split face block, we have to go with a little bit deeper insulation. So we'll have some banding that'll have some color variations in it. And that, once we decide if we can afford to do the block look, then we as a facilities group will sit down with the colors and approve those, because as they put that all on, they're going to be installing the insulation, all of the lath that goes on it, and then we'll integrate those colors and the patterns into it when that final finish goes on. But we're hoping that the pricing, which we're confident in, that we can get some actual block accent to really try to dress up the look of that. So that's it's shown as an alternate. So we'll get our price for the base kind of sand finish, and then that alternate would be how much of this block look do we want and where do we want it.
Then will it be the basic color that it is now? Is that what they think looks the best? Or?
The colors will be very similar in kind of that neutral kind of earth tone, tan, and then we'll have pops of color to where we'll have some dark banding. And then we are getting, Langless is working to get a price on, if you remember that one rendering, we had a kind of a larger beaverhead, your logo shown on one of the larger flat. They are getting a price to see what we could do for a metal sign or whether it's a lighted sign. And that would just be something that they would come back to us and say, hey, do we want to try to do it? It could be a project that maybe Caleb could do with his metals group if we provide them the standoff, because we're asking them to provide standoffs for signage, which means that they're having inserts into that material that at a later date we can come back and hang something that we're not going to impact the new finish.
Okay. And then Dan, when will they go into the classrooms and take down some of the sheetrock and check for moisture and stuff? That'll happen way as well.
That'll happen earlier so that we can get that patched and repaired. Because with the new system, the impact, so as we've got the window sills in the classroom that have the sheetrock, we're actually replacing that sill plate because the windows are going to get moved outboard of where they're at now. So really there's only the wall patches that we're looking to see about moisture. But we're not having to patch and repair a bunch of sill work because that's all going to happen with new basically trim on those windows. So it makes there's less of an opportunity for a bunch of mess in there, but that'll happen as part of this early demo that Langless, their site superintendent's name is Jackson. So he'll be the one that's starting to do that pre-demo work to do some of that identification to see if there's anything we need to replace in a few locations. And then all that repair work can happen well before students would ever, or even staff would be in the building.
Okay. Then on the EFS contracts, you and Langless will review those and decide who we want to go with?
We'll review them, and those most likely I would probably invite Dr. Patterson as we review them, hear what the pros and cons are. And we as the district have the opportunity to be more selective. So if there's somebody that we want, and based on the data, the information that's provided, we can encourage Langless to select the folks that are going to be the best fit for the project. So they don't make the decision; they're going to present it to us, and then we would approve it based on from the school, not them. They don't have the authority to make that without giving us the right to question or ask for more detail if required.
And that decision as who we're going to use will be this week then?
Yeah, that's the intent.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll confirm, JR was receiving those this afternoon, and so I didn't get a chance to fully understand exactly who was submitting. But it's the folks that one of the person that's been the best for information on the product and the longevity of it is the actual group that did the building in Missoula that's been installed for about 15 years. So their knowledge of that product is quite extensive. And so that's who I feel is going to end up being the leader on this one, just because they know it as well as they do. And I think their pricing is going to show that.
Okay.
Dan, how confident are we that the guaranteed maximum price is he anywhere close to that rough order of magnitude construction budget? 950. $1,658.
If I have my gut, I feel we're going to be under that number. Those usually have a fairly decent amount of contingencies built into them. When I ran the numbers, I was about $2,000 off of what theirs was. I was a little bit higher than they were, so I feel real confident that they've got everything covered and then some. So I feel that at the end of the day, we'll see a little bit of money coming back out of that number, especially with the limited amount of work that we have to do on the inside of the building. That really is going to help save some labor dollars, not having to do a bunch of repair work on the inside of the building.
Okay, looking at this site plan that you sent, I see we've got, looks like a little bit of storage on Spruce Street, but then on Vigilante Drive, which that's back at the shop entrances, correct? We've got a dumpster and contractor parking. Now,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
my only concern with that is how long they're going to be there, because when football rolls around, that's a pretty high traffic area.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering how that would impact.
I talked to JR today, or not today, sorry, last week, and said, when we did VW Lodge, we had the contractors park on the street to not take away needed parking that you guys had. Obviously, street parking with during school, students are going to park where they want to park. But to try to drive them from taking up any access points that the school would need. So we would modify that and have them take up the parking in front of the building, in the parking lot adjacent, right up against the building, and then street parking, and not take up your alleyway.
I mean, theoretically, look, you'd think it'd be fine, but we do use that. That gets heavy use from both the wood shop and the ag program. Yep. And then home football games, that's kind of like the main thoroughfare.
Yeah. We would take all that into consideration and have them adjust accordingly to minimize any impact to the social and the school events. That just came in late this afternoon, so I said it's a start. I like, because their intent that 1 and 2, and they're going to be on the east and the north, and so they're not going to have any need to store materials along the alley or even the front of the in the parking lot on the front of the building. Everything's going to be out on the north side of the building, towards the middle of August. So we should be totally out of that area that would be a main thoroughfare for your activities.
Questions? One thing I want to bring the board's attention to also in your board packet that goes along with this topic is a bill from the Montana Department of Labor and Industry. It's under 5,000, so I could prove it. We needed to do it ASAP, and that was for our permits. Building permits for the plan review for plan review and permit fee. And so that does pertain to this project. Just wanted to clarify what that was and made any questions on that.
Yeah, Dr. Patterson, I could clarify too. So the reason that the design team went ahead and decided to submit for permit is because we are touching every surface of that building, and they felt more comfortable actually showing them what we're doing. So when we were going to seal the building and paint it, it was really, we were calling it repairs. It wasn't a, kind of a beautification. There's a lot more physical work we're doing to the exterior of the building. And they felt that it was critical to get that sign off from the state so they understood what we were doing. In my original budgets, I had about $12,000 listed for permitting. So because of, there's some dollars to the good there, but I took their expertise and their guidance on that it was probably the best thing just to ensure that the state didn't have any concerns or questions with what we were doing. That's why the other path, we wouldn't have seen a permit fee. So I think this just saves us any concerns that if a state inspector drove by and said, "Hey, wait, this isn't on our list," and would potentially stop us, this takes all those hurdles out of our way.
Any questions for Dan? All right, well, thank you, Dan. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Dan.
the
All
update.
right. Thank you, guys. Yeah, have a good evening.
Just get them going.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hey. Hey,
All right, we're moving right along in a summer maintenance and repair update. As you can see, we've got a lot of painting going on here in the main building. Pretty excited about that. That's been spearheaded by Jack Ferguson himself and our summer student workers. As you know, we're down 2 custodians. So we only have 1 of 3 custodians right now, or 3 full-time custodians. And we've got those advertised, and crossing our fingers we'll get somebody soon. And but those kids are doing a great job. We've got some touch up and things to go back and do. But I'm very pleased with how they're doing. And so far we're on schedule because we have a lot of other things to complete as well. The lodge is pretty much done. We got a little bit of waxing, I think, in the foyer area to do. Other than that, as I mentioned, the gym floors are done. The ACIT building, they went ahead and they tackled that first, knowing that there might be some cleanup after all this repairs are finished. So the bulk of the work that's typically done over there has been completed. So I'm pleased to report that tonight. Any questions on maintenance and repair for summer stuff?
and you said that the walls are gonna be painted dark blue on the bottom and then white on the top?
Yep, just like you see
Like
here.
out there?
Yeah, so that's all. It is just the interior of this building. Is all we're doing.
Then you're gonna put a gold strip between the white and the blue if we have time?
If we have time, maybe the half-inch gold strip to kind of really give it a nice accent all the way. But one of the things the kids had mentioned in our My Voice survey and student council mentioned that they would love if we changed color inside. And so I thought with our innovative educational tax credit money, I thought that'd be a good use of taxpayer funds to give that to the kids. And so that's what we're using. I think we have around a little over $10,000 left out of the 24,000 total we got. And that's what we're using to paint the building. And so we're hoping when it's all done, we can bring in Casey or JP, get some pictures so we can show the taxpayers that when they do donate, not only do you get a tax credit on your state taxes, but it's also going to, it's giving back. It's helping the kids and helping give them something that they've been asking for.
That sounds neat.
Any other questions on that? Okay, staff vacancies, as I mentioned, we still got 2 full-time custodians, 1 part-time custodian to fill, as well as 1 one-on-one special ed para position. I do have an interview lined up late this month. Somebody's moving to town for that SPED one-on-one position. So I'm very hopeful. She's reached out to me a couple times, and so she's definitely interested. And she wanted to make sure she had that interview lined up. So I'm crossing my fingers that it's a good interview, and I hope it'll be a good fit. But if you know anyone that's looking for some custodial work, that'd be great. Also, we have a mechanic position, full-time mechanic position over at the bus garage. That's 18 to, I think, to 22, something like that, an hour. And I'm honestly, if we're not going to get any interest in that, we may have to bump that up. We definitely want to get somebody over there to help John and to be a protege and to learn from John Campbell. Because he's not going to be around forever, folks. He's going to have to retire at some point. Anything you have to add to that, Sean?
We had one gentleman that showed up and his holdup, but he wouldn't be able to obtain the CDL. And I've had a couple of inquiries, but they haven't responded back. But I've been on vacation all week, last week, so I'm hoping this week that I can touch base with them and see if they're still interested or what is going on.
Great.
But like Josh said, we may have to bump that range up to get somebody of quality and to get more bites on it, unfortunately. That's just the nature of the beast. But we definitely need to get it. There's enough work with the busing out there that myself doing what I do and helping John when I can, as long as being of age and a route driver. He's wanting to phase back his mechanic time. And I don't blame the guy, he's 71 or 72 years old. We need somebody out there 8 hours a day, keep up with the oil changes, the brake jobs, the repairs. You know, and get them in there when John's still there, because John is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to buses. He spent his whole life working on them. He knows all the ins and outs. He's even teaching me a lot on the bus because my background is mining equipment and, you know, big diesel stuff. So I'd like to get somebody in there, you know, under John's wing. And John said he, you know, for a while, stick around with, you know, as long as you need. Get this guy in, do it, get him comfortable, and then start. The plan is to start phasing John back like 3.5 hours or something a day, 3 hours a day. That guy starts his day at 6:30 in the morning. He generally don't get out of there until 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, kind of like me.
So this is, I think, a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So, you know, anybody out there with the talent and the work ethic and some skill, but even if you don't have all the certifications, we're willing to be flexible as long as you can qualify to get your CDL.
Critical position.
Yeah.
Sean, do you know any mechanics in town? I mean, in your vast
Possibility, I
background
could-
through the years that might be interested?
I can reach out to a couple of guys, see if they'd be interested, but they're in pretty good positions now. My son was kind of interested in it. He got a basic mechanic knowledge. Right now, he's working for Dillon Flying Service, the gentleman that owns that. And he's doing the flying service, the car wash, the rental, and also doing a lot of repairs on the Mini, but he's not getting paid well. He's been under my wing his whole life, learning ins and outs of mechanics. So I think if, you know, you guys agree, it might be something for him to look at and for us to contemplate, because he can work out of my small toolbox is sitting there, and he's helped me rebuild engines and transmissions and suspensions. But I'll reach out to some people and see what they say.
Any other questions on the open positions? Okay. So we got a couple of these are linked to some action items. So the next one is our employee lease agreement with Barrett Hospital. And as you probably read there, Barrett wanted to increase Elisa's contract 3%. And they wanted us to cover all of it. I didn't really feel comfortable with that, considering we gave our certified employees only a 2.25%. So I countered back and said, look, I don't feel comfortable putting this in front of my board, but if, you know, I might be able to get them to do 2.25%, because that's what we did for our employees. If you could cover the other 0.75. And they came back and said they'd be willing to do that. And so we would cover 2.25%, and Barrett Hospital would cover 0.75. And I guess this whole situation is kind of new to me, but they weren't really to get to like a 60-40 true split. We're paying 60% of the contract, and they're paying 40%. This is darn near close. I mean, I think we're really close to that split at this point. We're within 2%, I think. Any questions on that one? And I think, Lisa pretty much, I think she works fairly exclusively for us. It seems that way. And she does all of our athletic programs, all of the athletic training services. She's based out of the EW Lodge there. And it is kind of nice to have your own athletic trainer. I'm not going to lie. That's a perk I've never had in any other district ever. And 2.25%, we can afford that.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that to them, because that wouldn't have looked good to the rest of our employees if we'd have picked up the full 3%. So
Yes.
I think that's a good way to do
And
it.
so that's just a proposal, and I feel comfortable presenting that to you tonight because I feel like it does right by our certified staff. And again, they've already kind of agreed to it. They just need the board's blessing and vote tonight. And if not, I can go back to drawing board and we can haggle some more.
John, the union would be fine with that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions on the lease agreement? Employee release agreement. Okay, we're going to the cops. This is a school violence prevention program. And so basically what I'm going to ask for in the action on that is permission to pursue this grant. It's come up last minute. As I've mentioned before, we've got a big E-rate project going on right now with a bunch of cable pools. That'll probably start later this month. Still haven't heard back from the feds to clear the funding on that, which is very rare. I've never had that happen before with a federal program like E-rate. They've always been good for the money. And so I'm hoping they are now because that's about an $80,000 project. Now the PA, what's that do? That sets us up for the PA system, right? It pulls all the cable necessary in all three buildings to have one unified public announcement system. Well, this COPS grant covers something like that, but it's a competitive grant. Grant awards are up to $500,000. So as I was thinking about this, there are some other security upgrades, on my wish list of things, some Verkada security cameras, some better access control, that we could look into getting to beef up our campus security, not just the facilities, but grounds as well. And now here's the catch. This is why I need board approval because there's a 25% match. We'd have to use district funds for it. Anytime I see that though, and I'm realizing they're fitting 3/4 of the bill, I'm only putting a quarter, return on your investment is really good. As long as we keep the scope of the project within something within the means that we can afford.
What are you thinking dollar-wise?
Well, so the quote I got back on the PA system, at first was a patch. The patch was going to be $40,000 for a full-blown PA system. The quotes I've been getting are over six figures, somewhere in between them, 100,000 and 140,000. So I'm thinking Hellgate just did one, Hellgate Elementary, and they did theirs. They got their grant for about $250,000, and they were able to do the exact same thing, PA system, but they did a bunch of security cameras, other things like that. And so that's kind of the ballpark I was looking to shoot for, maybe in the 2 to 250. And then
Where would our 25% come from?
so our 25% could come from our building reserve
Okay.
fund, which I believe we have right now. We have about 1.3 million, I think, in building reserve, roughly. Okay, last I checked, and I don't think we've been spending it like gangbusters. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think we spent any of it.
But
That-
we could use that.
Yeah, so we could use that. So that's probably what I would prioritize. And again, it just covers so much. If it's competitive, but there is some like free assistance out there for this grant specifically through Verkada, which is one security camera systems, because they know if we were able to get this grant that they might benefit from it too. And so that's kind of what I would like to look into. The deadline for application submission is coming up quick, like 4 or 5 weeks. It's beginning of August. And so I'd have to have a site safety assessment done. So if I were to get permission tonight, I'd have to reach out to local law enforcement, get a safety assessment done at the campus. K-12 Montana, we have a contract with for our technology services, also come and do an additional site safety from the cybersecurity side. Once we have that in place, I could start the application process. I need some letters of support from the community. And now remind me, somebody called me the other day. I think we're a reunification site in case there's a disaster, but I don't know if that's with who that's with. Is that just with the city?
With the university, for sure.
Yeah. Is it?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'd probably be reaching out to Western, the city here locally to get at least 3 letters of support. And Hellgate had mentioned, because they're a reunification site too, not just, that they look very favorably on that when it shows that it benefits more than just your own school. Like this benefits our entire community, that we have a very secure building and campus. And so that's just kind of the approach, but time is up in essence. And I think it'd be well worth our 25% investment. And again, I'm a fiscal conservative, so I want to keep costs down. But at the same time, we could really probably get a lot out of this if we were able to be successfully awarded this grant.
If we were awarded this grant, could we utilize that matching in the tax credit, as we are seeking additional tax credit dollars again
We could.
in the potential fall/January? Could we use that to me, that feels like something that would be very appealing to community members as a match versus
not that paint's not a great option, but to me, that would be really appealing. to
Agreed.
some people.
So we could, so when we accept the award, we are officially agreeing to pay 25%. What they do is they don't award you the grand total amount. They award you the amount less your 25%, right? And so we can really take that from, it's got to be from a state source. It can't be from a federal source because it's a federal grant. You can't match federal dollars. So it have to come from general fund, flex fund, building reserve, potentially do some safety transfer out of transportation. But we're spending a lot on transportation right now, so I'd kind of like to leave that alone. Yeah, but we absolutely could use our innovative educational tax credit. So that's probably a great way to market that.
Might be a good way.
Because we do have that second round coming up, I believe, in December.
Yeah, there was some
I
money that
mentioned
was
it,
kicked
Ken.
back. Mhm.
October? Okay.
Is it 75-25 split or
Yes.
nothing? Is there like, could there be a 50-50 awarded or?
No, it's 75-25. Yeah, that's exactly. They do have a couple micro grants out just for schools for 100,000. And I didn't look into that fully because I didn't really go for the bigger dollars
Yeah,
if
no,
we can,
makes
just because the
sense.
return is so much more.
Yeah.
Any questions on the COPS School Violence Prevention Program grant? I believe there's information in your packet. Thought there was. Yeah,
Yeah, there was.
the COPS fact sheets. I highlighted some things in there, so hopefully you had some information about that. Okay, I'll move on then to what we got next here. District 10 Transportation Services. So every year, or at least in the past few years, we've had an MOU, a memorandum of understanding with District 10 to provide transportation services for District 10 students. And right now, we're currently in good faith negotiations with District 10 on that MOU, which may become a contract. I've been doing some research on it. Currently, we make about $30,000 is what they provide us for transportation services. And so I did meet with Randy Shipman, and I met with Greg, and I also have spoken with Todd Rouse, their chairperson. And we have a meeting tentatively scheduled for this Friday at 10 a.m. to do a follow-up meeting on that. So I just kind of wanted to let you know where we're at. I don't have a document for you tonight to be approved. And honestly, we've got some time. I feel like it's important to have to go through these negotiations, even if it does take some time. Because this has been my first kind of full summer to really analyze and research this. And I believe we can reach an agreement that's more proportionate in terms of cost sharing for school transportation. And I'd be more than happy if anybody, I have met with Gary already earlier today to give him some more detail on some of the logistics and some of the quantitative data. So if you would like, I can provide you much more information. I'm just not ready to present that publicly right now. And so if you want to schedule a meeting, it's summertime, I'm pretty flexible. You can come in and I'll give you some more specific data of kind of where I'm at in the number crunching process.
One of the things that has happened throughout the years is the number of high school students riding buses is going down as a percentage of the total because most high school kids are driving now and have cars, and the K through 8 are by far the majority of the students that are being transported by the high schools. So trying to figure out something that'll work for everybody.
Yeah, this would be a cost sharing proposal, and we want to maintain our good partnership with District 10. We wouldn't be trying to raise rates on anybody excessively. We're not trying to make a dime. We're not trying to make any money. We're just trying to make sure that the cost share is proportionate based on the amount of ridership that we currently have. And like I said, if you have any other questions, please give me a shout, shoot me an email. We'll have a schedule as a private meeting. Route bus purchase and replacement. And so you can see if we had 3 bids I had put in your packet or sent, I guess, as separate documents. We had one from Harlow, one from Hartley's, and one from, I believe, Interstate Bus or Interstate Trucking. And I've asked Sean to be here tonight, so if you have any questions for him, but I believe he's recommending the Thomas bid, the Thomas school buses, and one of the big reasons for that, I believe, is because we have some new repair shops here in the state now. John, did you want to speak on that at all?
Yeah, the reason I recommended Thomas versus International or Bluebird. Bluebird and Thomas, they're pretty comparable price wise. International was way high, so they're totally out of my eyes. The reason I recommended Thomas over Bluebird is I have two Thomas bus dealers in the state of Montana, one in Missoula, one in Billings. Closest dealership for Bluebird, Rugby, North Dakota. Thomas also cover tows under warranty if it breaks down. So just in my mind, having the two dealerships close under warranty is a major selling point for me. I do know that the Thomas buses are on a Freightliner chassis. They're not, Uber chassis, which is a hodgepodge of you get Eaton axles, Allisons, and all this other stuff. And International is international. They're dealing with Harlow's and the international dealers, been struggling at time to get parts that we need. So in my mind, seeing the Thomas, and I had John Campbell got to really get hands-on at the conference he went to in June. They are the great bus. That's all the 5 school district would mainly run in Washington. And they had over 300 route buses. And Thomas was the go-to bus. They got great visibility. They got a good warranty. The price is really spot on with Bluebird. And the fact that there's 2 dealers in the state of Montana is a no-brainer for me. Anything comes up, I don't have to go and figure out how to get a bus to North Dakota. If it was a Bluebird.
Sounds like the right way to go to me.
Absolutely.
Do these new buses, do they have seat belts in them, Sean?
They do.
They do.
They're an 80 passenger with seat belts, and the 2 front rows of seats have built-in booster seats that can fold down for your kindergarten, first grade riders that need the booster seat. They're built right in, and seat belts are right there at the booster seats as well.
Do any of our other buses have seat belts, Sean?
The newer, newest Bluebirds do, but they don't have the booster seats. And, they're the 2 internationals, the 2 newest internationals are, 3 to a seat would be 74 passengers. These Thomases are 80.
That's what I really like about it. I like the guts. You got a Cummins.
Cummins engine, Allison transmission, Freightliner chassis. Again, visibility, the windshield, the front windshield gives you so much visibility compared to the international, the Bluebirds that we looked at. It's just amazing. The visibility from that. You can see so much in front of you and off to these both sides of the driver. There's virtually 0 blind spots, so you can't miss a kid if they're in a blind spot versus the old Bluebird or International.
And we're asking for 2 of these, so they're $171,870 a piece, not cheap, for $343,740. That'd be paid for out of our bus depreciation fund, and we're estimating what 1.5 years per build.
I was here talking to Nick from my state. As long as we get the order in fairly soon.
So there's a possibility, in speaking with Suzanne, that I can spread the cost at least maybe to 2 fiscal years, possibly 3. And so we're gonna, if approved, I'll put my head together with Suzanne and see if we can spread that cost as far as we can, so the bus depreciation fund takes the least impact in a single year. Any questions for Sean?
I would like to add, there was a time where we were on every 2-year cycle getting 2 new buses. And there was this gap from the 2024s were ordered in actually in 2023 till now. And there are a couple of buses in the fleet that would be ideal candidates to get off the route and put them as spares. They are literally rattles themselves to pieces on running on dirt roads, particularly Anderson Lane and East Bench. take 1 and 4, put those on those routes, and 1 and 4 get the brand new Thomases because they go up. Or possibly take the current 1 and 4, take one of those and put them on the Grant Lemhi route, because that bus is getting on high mileage as well. And take that bus and replace, like East Bench or Anderson Lane's bus. And those 2 buses, take them backup buses and move away surplus, and if this all gets approved, the older backup buses, which are 17 and 18, that are pre-2000 buses, that are high mileage and getting harder and harder to find parts, and their bodies are cracking apart and everything else.
That sounds good. Thank you, Sean.
More, make sure.
All right, we'll move on to the YMCA transportation lease agreement. And we've already started, should have had this out last month, or even in May. And it's our standard agreement, same as last year. The only thing that's changed are the dates. And this really, it says 26, 27. Technically, it's 26. It covers the summer activity program. And I think there's a few other things that we provide transportation for them. But it goes from, essentially their contract expired, or their insurance expires December 6th last year. So they renewed it from their insurance covered from that point, and they're going to cover all the way up to December 6th of this year. And so I'm recommending approval of that agreement tonight. Any questions on our transportation agreement with YMCA? Okay, next we've got vision to policy considered diploma for Montana Youth Challenge Academy graduates. Kind of gave you the heads up on this at the last meeting. So what I've provided here for you, the current reading and then the recommended revision for that section of the policy. So that way you can just see it in writing. And again, I'm definitely open for discussion. We technically have time to do this. I mean, we really don't need to make a decision until, well, it'd be nice to let NYCA candidates know as soon as possible. I think their next cohort I think it's already started. But we wouldn't have graduation anyway until,
I think it starts next week, doesn't it? The 21st, I think.
yeah, so it starts soon. I'm not sure if we've got anybody in there right now. I do know we had 3 students that were interested in it, and but I haven't heard back to hear if they're officially in or not.
Roxanne, did you get a chance to talk to anybody about
I
it?
did not, and I just looked at that, and I met with Trent, and I did not get to visit with him specifically about this.
I visited with the gentleman that is the coordinator or the recruiter for all of Western Montana.
Mhm.
And he said if we require 20 semester credits, they wouldn't need to go to the Youth Challenge anyway, because that's the minimum requirement in Montana to have credits to graduate. He said most schools that are allowing students to graduate through their high school are requiring semester enrollment like we are proposing, but the average number of credits that they're requiring is between 11 and 14. He thought about 13 was an average. And I guess I kind of have mixed feelings about that. I mean, if you give somebody a BCHS diploma, but they've really only earned 11 or 13 credits, they take that diploma to go to a job someplace, and I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I mean, it's a great program, and it's neat. The kids want to have a diploma from their representative high school, but I just don't know what the fair number of credits is, because they do gain 3 or 4 credits? Three at Youth Challenge.
So would they have to take the high set then, even, or just they get the diploma without the high set?
No.
I think got to do the high
I think they still have to do
Yes,
this.
I'll go over just so everybody here that's doesn't have a copy in front of them. Some of the changes. Currently, you have to score 10% higher than the requirement at NYCA to be considered. You also have to have an administrative endorsement from our administration. You have to petition the board. You have to complete the NYCA program, and obviously you have to pass the high set with that 10% higher.
Mhm.
Those are the current requirements. The changes I'm recommending, and again, it kind of goes both ways. So instead of requiring 10% higher, I'm recommending that we just that we just require the minimum. So if you pass the high set, I think like you're showing that you have, which is a 40, okay, instead of a 45 like we're currently requiring. If you pass the high set, that's the grade equivalent, right? That's the diploma equivalent. So I think you're showing that that you have enough knowledge to earn that. So I'm willing to give them some consideration there. That would benefit NYCA, Montana Youth Challenge Academy graduates. Now, but I am recommending to add that credit number. Right now, again, it's the average number, as Gary said, it's 13 credits to complete the program. So that you can complete the program, earn your high set, but to also get a diploma, again, they have to petition us. Well, the minimum amount of credits to graduate in the state is 20. And to get a Montana diploma, they say you have to have 20 credits. Now, at BCHS, we require 22. So there again, we're making a concession saying, okay, we won't require you to have the max, the minimum we require for BCHS students. We'll require you to have the minimum the state requires. So that's another thing. There's some districts in our state that require as much as 24 credits to graduate. And why do they do that? Academic rigor. They want to say, well, we're the most rigorous academic school in the state, right? It's very difficult to graduate here. And in some places, you can attract students doing that. A place like ours, we're very rural, it's not going to benefit you per se.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are two concessions with the lowering the percent expected for the high set to just the minimum, lowering the amount of credits from 22 to 20. I think we're giving them something. Obviously, they'd also still have to have an administrative endorsement. It still has to complete the program at NYCA as well. But this is just a proposal. Really, it feels like how does everyone feel? How do we value our BCHS diploma?
Yeah.
What is the academic value? I feel like it's a great program. It's a physical program. It's an emotion. They work on social emotional skills, and so there's a lot of rigor. It's very different, but the academic rigor, I feel like, in terms of their expectations, they're not the same. I don't see how you can compare 22 academic credits to 13. Again, when you get your diploma equivalent, that's supposed to be the same, at least in theory, as a high school diploma. Doesn't necessarily mean we have to grant them one.
John or Megan, do you guys have any thoughts about that? Any feelings?
I think it makes sense up to 20 compared to 13. I feel like now a lot of these that do go there, they need some extra support. That's good. They get that, but I do like we have something that we're setting for this.
And you think 20 would be a good standard?
It's fair.
How does the board feel about it? Anybody have any thoughts about it?
And thinking about the students that petitioned us this last year, would they have met that requirement?
There are 2 of the 3 that could.
Oh, really?
Okay.
There are 2 of the 3
Okay.
that could. 2 of the 3 could. All of them are juniors.
Okay.
2 of the 3 could come back.
Yeah.
They can go through the program, complete the program, and can come back if they choose the option that they're not high set seeking
Mhm.
and just want to get the credits.
Right.
And they
Right.
they can complete the program, not do the high set, come back and graduate. So there's a lot of, which is great about the program because they provide a lot of flexibility and options.
Mhm.
One of them, it'd be tough. I don't think that student has the credits to make it.
Mhm.
So benefits some and doesn't benefit others. And we don't have to make a decision tonight. Again, we can just take this. We could not cast a vote if the board decides to and pass it on to the next meeting so we can get some more information or talk to more folks. No rush on that one. Any other questions? This is just part of my report. It is in the action section later on and we can discuss it further. All right. Curriculum adoption strategic plan. So I recently contracted with School Services of Montana to do a curriculum audit. Because one of the things I noticed when I got here and I started doing my teacher evaluations and I was looking at textbook and curriculum material, they looked dated. And again, I only did half the staff this year because I had Rob do the other half. And this year I'll do the other half and I'll have Greg do half. the half that I did this year. And so I had a suspicion, but I didn't have I don't have time to go to every single classroom and look at every single textbook and then research every single textbook and see where that kind of falls in the continuum of things. And so I hired a curriculum specialist. That was Bobby Taylor, Billy Taylor, who is Bobby Conan's sister, as it comes to be. And she came in and did that for us. And long story short, you've got the whole report looks like this. If you look through it, it's not exactly desirable. We have some text that we can still use, but we have a text in our English program right now from 1989.
That's what I use are older than me.
Yeah, and again, it's not to say that we can't still find some value there. We're missing 30, 40 years of advancement in literature since that time. The same goes for some history, although, history, some of the past history didn't change, but we do have new periods in history. And so we came up with this curriculum audit plan. And so something like that, it's really a strategic plan. It's a multi-year plan, like 6 years, because we can't fix it all. Because we need it across the district. Every single subject matter needs curriculum material upgrades and textbook upgrades. And so we took the most critical first, and that was our new dual enrollment classes. We just approved at our last board meeting our college algebra textbook. Later tonight, I'll ask for a chemistry textbook for advanced chemistry dual enrollment course. But we also need some basic chemistry, beginning chemistry textbooks, or maybe beginning physics. And so it's things like that we need to look at as we move forward. So this kind of provides a pathway, a plan. And I'm hoping to get approval to kind of enforce that plan. I have earmarked $50,000 of our general fund budget for the purchase of textbooks. I'd like to keep kind of basically as part of this plan going forward so we can actually make this happen and not just be a hope and a dream. I do think it's very critical that we do so in order to stay up with Montana academic expectations and to meet Montana content standards. I'm also looking to work with Billy moving into the future with working with our academic departments. So one thing I'd like to do is start having academic department meetings again. So we have mostly three teachers in about every core department. So where they'll meet, we can meet with Billy and start digging into our standards and looking at textbook adoption or curriculum material adoption that aligns not only with the standards, but vertically. So when our students take, ninth grade ELA, that's preparing them for 10th grade and so on and so forth. Or preparing them for these dual enrollment classes that they're pretty rigorous, folks. And sometimes I just want to make sure we're giving those kids a fair shot and we're giving them the best material, prepare them for that. Any questions on the curriculum adoption strategic plan? And I'm more than happy to meet, in person and private for private meeting if you want to get more into the details. But I think it's a 12 or 14-page document.
Well, that's what we're here for, is the education for
Yeah.
old books. It's time to.
Billy Taylor, I've heard nothing but good about her. She does a tremendous job everywhere she goes.
She's hard. Everybody's using her.
Yeah.
Like I had to schedule her way in advance because not every district in our area is using her for the same purpose. Okay, we'll move on then to the site unification hold harmless agreements. So you can see those. This is annual every year, and those are with St. Rose of Lima Parish and Our Savior's Lutheran Catholic Church. The only thing that's really changed on these are the dates. If approved, then I'll get Gary to sign, and I'll get them over to the official over there to have them sign as well. Questions? All right, science textbook adoption. I kind of mentioned it already. So chemistry, the Central Science 15th edition, published in 2023. It is the latest edition. Unlike with the math book, I recommended a later edition, so it was more affordable. In this case, because it's 2023, there's not a newer edition. I would just go with this one because it's already 3 years old, and we want to try to be as relevant as we can. This text fully aligns with the learning outcomes for the UMW course, and, excuse me, the University of Western Montana course. We want to make sure that the textbook we provide matches those learning outcomes. And so that's what I'll be recommending later tonight. I've also, I did reach out to Allison and get her feedback on this one as well. And so she's in support.
How many will you need to purchase, you think?
I'm thinking anywhere from 15 to 20. I need to confirm the numbers, but last I checked, and we had got all the student schedules done, but we had about 10. So we might be able to get away with, whereas with the college algebra, we had like 27 kids, or 25, so I needed to get 30 just in case. We might be able to get away with fewer for this, at least this first year. Questions on science textbook? Okay, credit union accounts. So we've struggled with this one, Susie and I, and we just can't seem to figure it out. And since we haven't used it, and we're not using the accounts or the cards, even they recommended maybe you should just close it. So we're going to recommend just closing it so we don't have to go back and forth this any longer. Susie, do you have any more input on those? Okay. Last but not least, just you can see the important items that still remain this year. I need to work on revising the strategic plan. Still got board policies to update. About a third of the way through the student handbook. Staff handbook is complete. I need to get some feedback from our staff leadership team on that before it's officially complete. There's a PDU application to host professional development. Now the state's added. That takes probably a few hours to complete now, so they're just making things more difficult. Special education narrative, because we're being audited by the state this fall for our special education program. We got a mid-cycle review for Cognia still. County transportation meetings this Wednesday. So I just want to remind Mike again, or anybody else that wants to attend. That's at 10 a.m. over in the commissioner's meeting room at the courthouse. We'll continue transportation service contract negotiations with District 10. Beyond that, you can see my July schedule to date. There's not a ton. There's a lot on the behind closed doors, especially as it pertains to getting all these documents and policies updated. Any questions on the student bid report? No, I'll turn it back over to Gary.
Okay, assistant principal's report. Did Rob have anything to put on?
No, I didn't have anything, but no, if Greg wanted to, it sounds like he may introduce himself and maybe everybody knows who he is, but if you want to provide a little background and anything you'd like to say, the floor is yours.
All right, so I came and visited with Audra, and she did give me some keys. So there's a bundle of them, trying to figure out which ones are which. I believe my start date will be August 10th. Is that accurate, you think?
That's accurate.
Okay. I've just been periodically bringing stuff into the office, trying to get set up. As far as background goes, I've taught elementary, middle school, high school, and was an administrator in Anaconda for the last 2 years, which was a very good experience for me. Just excited to be here and ready to roll.
Glad to have you. Welcome.
Glad to have them.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Greg.
Activities director report is coach's handbook reviews.
Yes, and so you should have gotten that as a link as well in that email I sent. And if you had a chance to look through, Brock has highlighted all the areas where there's been revision. I believe the red highlights were redactions and the yellow highlights were revisions. And so a lot of it's due to legislative changes. And then some of it was due to just some evaluation things that I observed this year and language I thought would benefit us having in there. Especially in a situation like, if you ever have a coach resign, like, well, who does the responsibilities fall to then? Like if the head coach resign, they're supposed to have these duties, but who does that fall to? What is the chain? How does the chain of command look if we have some event that happens like that? And so we added some language in there. So that's very clear and coaches understand how that works. And essentially, the athletic director or activities director will be taking on those responsibilities in the event that a head coach resigns or if something happens and we're replacing the head coach or promoting an interim essentially to fulfill the remainder of the contract, remainder of the activity season.
Okay.
And I'll give you some time to kind of scroll through. So if you have any questions, I can answer as best I can on Brock's behalf. It looked good to me, everything that I saw. They'd asked you to come up with a mission statement for the activities program, and he did that. Aligns well with our academic mission. Any questions?
I think the piece about the evaluation is really good. You got it. Really good.
Painful there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
If there are no questions, I'll turn it back over to Gary for the consent agenda.
Okay, so we'll go to the consent agenda items. Josh, if you want to go through those and
9.1 board consideration and possible approval of the promotion of classified staff employee Rosa Morrow for the position of substitute bus driver, or from the position of substitute bus driver to full-time route driver for the 26-27 school year. She'll be replacing Mark Roca. He's our new commissioner for his route. So,
Second.
been moved and seconded to approve Rosa Morrow to become full-time route driver for the upcoming school year. Is there any question or discussion? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously.
Okay, 9.2, board consideration and possible approval of the addendum to employee lease agreement with Barrett Hospital for athletic trainer services. This is for Elisa Brown's.
That's the 2.25.
Correct.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded to approve the addendum for the employee lease agreement with Barrett Hospital for the athletic trainer services along the lines that Josh had described. Is there any question or discussion? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
9.3, board consideration and possible approval to admit enrollment of out-of-district students. So you should have a list in your packet. Review that list. And if we need to talk about any of these students in particular, we'll need to go to executive session.
I would move to approve the list.
Been moved and seconded to approve the admission enrollment of the out-of-district students for the upcoming school year per the list that was attached. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Lots of these are Madison County kids coming from Tween, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're returning. Most of them are returning kids. We have a few on there that are coming up from District 10.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, the vast, I think, almost exclusively. There might be one from Lima.
Two McCoys just moved to Lima
Correct. Yes, and now there's maybe three.
from the East.
Oh, they did. They moved from Lyman. Where's he living at down there?
The old Santana Ranch.
Was he?
Yeah, he sold the East Bench place and then Title Creek and Bush Prairie there.
Okay, on to the action items.
10.1, board consideration and possible approval of items important related to the ACE building repair project. We don't have anything to approve tonight, just kind of more information on that. So we can move on from 10.1, 10.2, board consideration and possible approval of the recommended multi-year curriculum adoption strategic plan. Biggest part of that's carving out that $50,000 from the general fund to implement this plan for the 6-year period. I do kind of feel like the plan's, it is somewhat of a living document, and if we need to make changes, we can. I just, I think it gives us at least a beginning framework.
I would move to approve the 6-year multi-year curriculum strategic plan.
Been moved and seconded to approve the multi-year curriculum adoption strategic plan. Are there any questions or discussion? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously.
Item 10.3, board consideration and possible approval to grant the superintendent permission to apply for the COPS SVPP grant. School violence protection, or the school violence prevention program grant.
So, second.
Been moved and seconded to grant the superintendent permission to apply for the COPS SVPP grant. Is there any discussion? Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously.
Item 10.4, board consideration and possible approval of the purchase of 2 new yellow Thomas school buses from I-State Truck Center as recommended by Transportation Director Sean Lineker.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the 2 new yellow Thomas school buses from my state truck center. Is there any discussion or questions of Sean? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously.
Item 10.5, board consideration and possible approval of the YMCA transportation lease agreement for the 2026 YMCA summer activity program.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the YMCA transportation lease agreement for the current year's summer activity program. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously.
Item 10.6, board consideration and possible approval of a revision to board policy 2410-P1 regarding requirements for consideration of granting a VCHS diploma to MYCA graduates.
Does everybody feel, do we want to wait a month on it and visit with some more people, or are we okay with the 20 credits in the 2 semesters?
I think I'm okay with it too.
Like me.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the YMCA
For no.
or
Montana.
MYCA graduate program. There is little difference there.
Hmm.
Basically to require 20 credits in 2 semesters along with the other things that we have. Is there any discussion on it? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Josh, thank you for your work on that.
Yes, sir. Item 10.7. Board consideration and possible approval of the proposed adoption of the new textbook Chemistry, the Simple Science 15th edition by Brown et al. For our recently added dual credit course in partnership with UNW.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to purchase the new chemistry books. Is there any discussion or questions? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously. 10.8, we already did. didn't
Yeah, we did.
we? And 2 and 10.8 are the same.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, we can skip that, then it'll be a shorter meeting.
There you go.
Item 10.9, board consideration and possible approval of the revision to the coach's handbook recommended by Activities Director Brock Nomaki.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the revisions to the coach's handbook. Any discussion or questions? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Sure, got everything over here. Item 10.10, board consideration and possible approval of the site reunification hold harmless agreements for the 26-27 school year.
I shall move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the site reunification hold harmless agreements for the upcoming year. And those are with the Catholic Church and who?
In the Lutheran Church.
Lutheran Church, okay. Any other questions? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, passes unanimously.
Item 10.11, board consideration and possible approval to close the Southwest Montana Community Federal Credit Union accounts and credit cards, formerly High Peaks Federal Credit Union.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of closing the credit card at the Southwest Montana Community Federal Credit Union?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, passes unanimously.
Makes Susie happy.
Absolutely.
I have nothing for, no updates on litigation strategy tonight.
Okay. Any other business to come before the board? John or Megan, anything from union and teacher standpoint?
Not during the summer, not for me. Could be. No, it's kind of mine.
It's all right. Casey, any questions or thoughts?
Nothing.
Okay, Sean, anything else?
Board school buses.
There you go. Okay, if not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, and our next meeting would be August 10th at 7.
So moved.
Second.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Lori, thank you again so much. Stay in touch, let us know.
Gonna miss
Good
ya.
to see you.